Hello, this is John Aker, call sign Nomad. This is my YouTube channel. The top line of the splash screen is their YouTube is calling a handle, part of the URL to find this channel, youtube.com/@ John Aker, aviating author. And note the dots, the periods between the last four words. That forms the handle. This introduction is the first of more than a dozen videos that I generated that follow my autobiography, Recollections, my life in and out of the military. And they will represent planes I flew during the 18 years of active flying status I was on during my 20-year military career as a United States Air Force pilot. I found software that runs in the computer flight simulator world, matching airplanes that I flew in real life. And I narrate them with a narrative stream of consciousness, stories of what was happening in my life during the times when I flew those airplanes. And, well, they're war stories, you know, of course. And in war stories, you have to be careful because the first liar ain't got a chance. You'll learn a little bit about computer flight simulators and videos, the equipment I use to get it done, and we'll have some fun. And check your six back there. I might be on your tail. Nomad is back. Let's take a look at the rest of this series. This is a quick and dirty listing of the videos I'll be posting. At the top left at 00 is this introduction video. And if you'd like to take a look at these in a little more detail, it'd be a good time to pause the video and then pick it up and go on down the road. Hi, my name is John Aker, call sign Nomad. I'm working on a series of video clips of planes I flew while I was in the U.S. Air Force. I thought as an introduction that I would tell you about what equipment I was using to put this together. And in a moment I'm going to take the webcam down and show you what the setup looks like. It's nothing fancy. Years ago, back around 2000, I started with my computer, flight simulators. Worked my way through Microsoft up to their last model back then. It was number 10. They used Roman numeral X to designate it, and it was Flight Sim 10 or FSX. I tried X-Plane back then. I think it was version 1. And it looked like they were promising, but they were just beginning. And then Microsoft deserted the flight simulator users and just kind of left us hanging out there. I dropped flight simming and I came back to it here about a couple years ago. I've been working with it. So I'm currently using FSX and X-Plane 11. Those folks have progressed a bit. They even have a commercial version, which is rather expensive, but it can be used for training pilots in the real world. Okay, let's see what we're using. I'm going to be moving around. There's my tower, built by a local company here in Elkhorn, Nebraska, Elkhorn Computers. Nothing super, it's a fairly fast processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM. primary monitor, my secondary monitor, and we'll show what's on there. I use a Logitech X52 HOTUS hands-on throttle and stick. There's the stick. Keyboard sitting on the computer desktop, and below it is a Logitech trackball. And this is the throttle half of the Logitech X52. It looks awful neat down there. That's because rather than cleaning up the mess, I used a hand towel to cover it all up. Okay, hang on. Don't get seasick. I'm going to put the webcam back up where it belongs. And see if it seems to be lined up. I'm also wearing a Logitech headset with boom mic. Okay, let's take a look at, first we're going to look at Flight Simulator 10 FSX. We'll bring it up. It's coming up on the screen now. Steam Edition. Steam is a place where you can get products that are less expensive than the regular market. Most of the time, everything's out there. Okay. While we're up here, if you give me just a moment, I'm going to go in here and reduce the size of me up there in that corner. Okay, back to FSX, Flight Simulator 10. Free flight. Comes with a batch of planes. I've gone out and looked for ones that I wanted to use in my series of planes that I flew. In the series we start off with the Piper Cub. I could choose it here and go flying, but I'm going to cancel here. And I'm going to load a program that I've already set up. It's the Cub at Bartow. I flew out of Bartow Air Base, Florida, in training. It takes a moment to load here, and there it is. I'll adjust this headset because my sound is up a little too high. If you get tired of working with it, you can pause it. You can move views around. It's getting a little hot inside, so let's open the doors there. And back inside. That's a bit of what Flight Sim 10 looks like. Let's open X-Plane 11. This will take a bit longer to load because it's a great deal more complicated and complex than Flight Sim 10 ever hoped to be. Again, I have some saved flights. Under situations, there's one of the same thing, a demo down here at the Cub at Bartow. And let's load that flight. Notice it's taking a good bit longer to load than Flight FSX did. And we should be back in that same type Cub at Bartow Air Base, Florida, back in 1956. I just gave away how old I am. There we go. Lost my picture up here. It'll come back when we get into the flight sim. Okay, there she is. Again. Let's pause. While we're doing that, I want to show you another product that I use. It's Little Nav Map. All one word if you're looking for it on the interstate. It is free. They accept donations. I've previously already set it up with Bartow, Florida, here in the center. It works with either flights FSX or X-Plane. Let's go to Tools, Flight Simulator Connection, and we want to connect with X-Plane. When we connect, and here's our airplane. It just dropped in. So while I'm flying, this is up on my second monitor, and I can track my ground track, see my ground track and where I am in relation to the airbase up here. Okay, I'll put this back over on my extra monitor there. Unpause. Now these are a little strange. They're available in X-Plane, and I'm in the cockpit here, and you can see this is not very much area, but I do have an altimeter, an old whiskey compass, and an airspeed indicator, and a RPM gauge, a couple other gauges here. I can see these while I'm flying from the cockpit, but sometimes I move to the external view. Now I don't have those instruments. But with this data input from X-Plane 11, they must have 50 of these you can put up there. I don't know where you're going to put them on the screen. Two that I typically run are airspeed and altitude, because now I have reference even without seeing the instrument panel. This bottom one says this is altitude, we're about 110 feet. And the airspeed, we're sitting still, so it's reading 0. But in the air, I can use those for cross-references. And back into the cockpit. Let's pause it and take it to reduce the noise. We always have a pause symbol on the screen. That pretty much lets you know what I'm using to do this and what kind of software I've got running. Flight Simulator 10, FSX, and XP11. And this is John Aker, the Nomad, saying, see ya, I'll see you next time in the air. And if you're up there, check your six. If you're flying fighters, I may be on your tail. So long. Excuse me for a minute. I'm going to slip it a little aside here. Last year in 2021, my custom computer was getting long in the tooth, so I went back to my friends in Elkhorn Computers and asked them to put together a new one for me. Did one heck of a job. Here, well, some of this may be a little bit of a repeat of the previous computer clip that was in here. I think there's a couple of points that might be of interest to you. So I'm going to slide this in. We'll take a look at the new box, and then we'll get on with the rest of this video. I wanted to upgrade my last tower, but it just wasn't big enough to handle what I wanted to run in flight simulators. So this is what the inside of the new box looks like. Larger investment than I wanted. The cooling fans up front, didn't really ask for the psychedelic lights, but it came with them. Wanted to show you what where everything happens in flight simulators with me. This is a light. It's not the lightest part of the room here. Notice the Velcro tie around the cables, and that's to take the strain off of the USB plugs going into the top of the computer case, the desktop. Two monitors, a 24 on the left and a 21 on the right. Two cameras on top. The right-hand camera is a webcam. The left-hand camera is actually the IR receiver for track IR head movement tracker. Keyboard is on the desktop table. To the left of it is an external DVD player, and just behind that is an external hard drive, 1 terabyte. Is the HOTUS. Hands-on stick and throttle. Throttle on the left, stick on the right. The mouse is sitting on a mouse pad in the middle. I use a trackball instead of a mouse. The stick and throttle are bolted to the desktop in case it's a hot and hairy fur ball. There's next to the trackball, you can see the bolt with a wing nut that I fasten these units down to the desktop so they don't tip over. This piece here comes with the Logitech X52. There's 8 of them. You can put their suction cups that mount onto the bottom of each unit. I've tried them. They work to some extent, but I wouldn't trust them while I'm really flying hot and heavy. Now you know where all this comes from. Well, all you folks out there, we're winding down to the end of this first intro video to the planes I flew in 20 years in the United States Air Force as a pilot. If you enjoyed any of this effort, click that like button out there and subscribe to the channel. We can get back together when I start posting more of these videos out there for you.
They took the blue from the skies and a pretty girl's eyes and a touch of Old Glory's hue, and gave it to the men who proudly wear the U.S. Air Force blue. The U.S. Air Force blue. Oh, they are men with a dream on America's team. They're a rugged